Welcome to Flick Favorites. I'm going to explain an action, adventure, romance film from 2001, titled A Knight's Tale. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. Squires William, Roland, and Wat discover their liege Sir Hector's body after he was struck a few times during a jousting match one day. The organizers of the tournament still don't know about Hector's death, which offers William an idea. He'll pretend to be Hector and finish the competition. He has assisted Hector in the past in his training to become a fighting knight because he has always desired to be a jousting knight. Nobody will be able to detect the difference if the helmet is always worn. Wat and Roland resolve to assist regardless of their initial reservations about the plan in order to see what happens. William shocks everyone by winning the competition easily and taking home a pricey gold feather as a reward. The group later sells the feather and evenly distributes the proceeds. William has a better idea and returns the cash, leaving his companions with just one coin each. He believes that they can continue the charade and win the championship, so the money should be used to buy tools that will help them win even more. The plan is not well received by Roland and Wat, who even engage in physical conflict with William to recover their money. However, William persists and ultimately persuades them to lend a hand by appealing to their higher moral principles. The group invests in new gear and works diligently in the months before the competition to ensure that William doesn't miss a single shot. They come across a naked guy a month later while driving to the closest competition. Geoffrey Chaucer is the well-known author. William presents himself as Sir Ulrich, but Geoffrey is able to detect his deception and makes a deal. In exchange for them sharing some of his food and clothing, he will create a fake patent of nobility that William can use to compete in the upcoming tournament. While Wat makes sure to threaten Geoffrey with extreme violence if he tries to betray them, the trio is reluctant to trust Geoffrey, but they don't have much of a choice, so they accept the deal. When they arrive in town, they are pleased to learn that the organizers have accepted the fake patent of nobility, and William decides to employ Geoffrey as his herald. William notices Lady Jocelyn in the throng as he waits for his turn and falls in love with her right away. He follows her around the city because he wants to speak to her, but she won't give him her name. When Jocelyn enters the church and William attempts to do the same while still mounted on a horse, he is ultimately expelled. After that, William easily defeats his first opponent, but he is growing concerned about the condition of his armor. He is abruptly interrupted by the men in control of the neighborhood gambling scene, who inform him that he must make restitution for his employee. Geoffrey has a gambling issue rather than having been robbed, and if his liege doesn't pay, he'll be killed. William orders the men to release Geoffrey, ignoring Wat's outraged response, and makes a payment promise after winning the competition. William then participates in the sword fights and wins there as well, allowing Geoffrey the opportunity to promote William in front of the crowd by using his inventive wordplay. William wins the sword challenge, demonstrating his talent, and can now return to the jousting contests. He succeeds there as well, but when his armor is damaged, none of the blacksmiths will agree to repair it for a guarantee of payment. Even blacksmith Kate is unwilling to repair the armor, but William has heard what the other blacksmiths think of a female blacksmith, so he persuades her to do it by implying that they didn't think she could because she's a girl. Jocelyn and her lady-in-waiting Christiana are among those watching the jousting contests when they are confronted by jousting champion Count Ademar, who is also smitten with Jocelyn. Ademar explains the rules of jousting to Jocelyn, emphasizing that various hits are awarded different amounts of points, after bragging about his army's involvement in the ongoing French conflict and the fact that he has never been unmounted. William enters the room and interrupts their discussion in an attempt to impress Jocelyn with some poems that Geoffrey had just taught him. William is forced to depart in shame after Ademar humiliates him in front of everyone. Geoffrey introduces William with much fanfare before the following game, making up tales of his heroic actions. Ademar claims that despite William's excellent fighting skills and admission that not adequately protecting his eyes makes him fearless, he lacks style or technique. Although William's opponent is hurt and is aware that he has already lost, he has never forfeited a fight and wants to do so this time to preserve his honor. William accepts this out of sympathy for him, and they intentionally tie in their final pass. When the opponent leaves, William moves forward. Ademar believes that William is weak for not defeating his opponent, but Jocelyn views it as a wonderful act of kindness. Jocelyn receives a message from Ademar later that night promising to win the competition for her, but she doesn't care because she is aware that he only wins for his own ego and that he prefers women to remain quiet. The fact that William is the only knight who hasn't vowed to win for her has more than impressed her, so perhaps she'll let him win her heart. The following day, Jocelyn sends William her pashmina as a good luck charm and even permits Christiana to eventually tell him her name. In his final match, William faces off against Ademar. Despite starting out on top in terms of points, Ademar chooses to finish him off by hitting him on the head and knocking him out. Ademar is picking up Jocelyn's pashmina when William wakes up, and before giving it to her, he issues a challenge for William to locate him later after he has had more training. Even so, William prevailed in the sword competition, earning a respectable reward that will help him pay Kate and the gamblers. Speaking of Kate, she remarks that the armor he has been sporting wasn't custom-made for him and offers to make him a new one in exchange for their bringing her to Paris. Christiana arrives to confirm that William will attend the banquet because Jocelyn wants to wear clothes that match his colors, but William declines her and is anxious to leave. Immediately after stating he'll be wearing green, the group gets to work. Roland will prepare William's clothes while Geoffrey teaches him how to dance. This prompts William to quickly change his mind about leaving. Unfortunately, the lessons aren't going well, so when Kate overhears them fighting, William apologizes to her and persuades her to instruct them more effectively. William has the opportunity to converse with Jocelyn and read more poems to her during the banquet. Ademar makes another attempt to humiliate William by implying that he can only dance in a manner akin to a rural peasant, but William demonstrates his skills and effortlessly blends in, leaving Ademar very irritated. The following day, Kate has prepared specialized armor for William and has even added her own insignia to it. William is uncertain because he believes the armor is too light and small, but Kate explains that she has discovered a new way to reheat metal, which makes the armor lighter to wear while maintaining its strength. The men don't believe her, so they perform a test. When William is hit but doesn't feel anything, they are extremely impressed. William participates in another competition a week later. When he easily wins his first battle, he quickly disproves the jokes about his small, thin armor. Ademar has arrived to compete, but he leaves after finding out that his opponent is Prince Edward undercover. When Geoffrey learns of this, he urges William to follow suit in order to prevent trouble with the king. However, when William sees how disappointed Edward is that no one will challenge him, he makes the decision to do so. William informs Edward that he is aware of who he is in between runs, and Edward is impressed that he still chose to race against a prince. William triumphs in the competition, but he is unhappy that he was unable to defeat Ademar. When Jocelyn stops by to invite him to the banquet as a result, he snaps at her and she leaves angry, believing he's a twat. Weeks go by as William keeps taking part in and winning tournaments everywhere, but he never gets to play Ademar because the latter was summoned to the Battle of Poitiers. Ademar continues to inquire about the tournament results despite the fact that there is a battle going on, and he gets more and more irate when he sees that William is winning them all. After a month without seeing Jocelyn, William decides to send a letter to her in an effort to win her back. Geoffrey fills it with his own poetry and the sentiments their peers express about their former loves because he isn't very good with words. What is in responsibility of delivering the letter to Jocelyn, who bursts into tears of admiration for such kind words. The following day, What returns to the group bearing a letter from Jocelyn to William in which she promises to watch him joust in Paris and gives him a lucky kiss on the lips. Later, Geoffrey thinks that they could wager on William's victory since Ademar won't be competing in this contest either. William meets Jocelyn at the nearby chapel in the interim. Jocelyn soon experiences disappointment, however, because she had anticipated more poetry. Jocelyn issues him with a choice: if he wants to demonstrate his affection for her, William must lose in her honor. William storms out of the church in rage, refusing to be a failure in the face of such a request. But once the competition starts, William alters his mind and starts deliberately losing. The fact that he is worried about their bets and gets hurt over a lady drives his friends crazy, but William ignores them. Fortunately, Jocelyn eventually accepts his love, and in between games, she sends Christiana to tell William that he should triumph in the competition on her behalf. In doing so, William gives Geoffrey a bag full of coins for his wagers. Jocelyn pays a call to William in his tent later that night after he was unable to attend the banquet due to his wounds. Christiana overheard his friends talking, so Jocelyn admits that she now knows his true name. However, she also makes the vow that she doesn't care where he is from, and the two of them spend the night together. The party departs for London a few days later to attend the World Championship. William leads the other knights in the opening procession of the tourney and takes pleasure in the adoration of the crowd, even recognizing himself in the young children who chant his name. Jocelyn has, of course, come to see him joust, and Ademar has finally joined the tournament again. He declares he has already started talks with Jocelyn's father to marry her, promising to batter William mercilessly and win her over. William returns to his former neighborhood after winning all of his opening day contests. He locates his dad, who has gone blind, with the aid of a teenage fan. William first introduces himself as Ulrich, bringing a message from his son to John. However, John soon recognizes that this is actually his dear William, and he proudly beams with joy. Father and son exchange stories over drinks after crying together and hugging. However, they are unaware that Ademar has been following William and is now watching them from a distance. Jocelyn and Geoffrey deliver bad news the following morning as William is getting ready for the competition. Ademar has discovered his identity and is waiting with a dozen royal guards to arrest him in front of everyone. Jocelyn concurs with his friend's request that William flee, stating that as long as they are together, she wouldn't mind living in destitution. William, on the other hand, makes the decision to remain and enter the arena while marching with his friends by his side and his head held high. William is promptly detained and arrested as was to be anticipated. When Ademar arrives, he takes advantage of the circumstance by hitting William repeatedly while insulting and making light of him. Later, when William is being executed, his companions surround him in an effort to protect him from the enraged mob that is hurling vegetables at them. Prince Edward, who describes William as a real knight because of his mercy and honor, abruptly interrupts this argument. After directing the guards to free William, Edward explains that his historians have discovered that the young man does have ancestry in an ancient aristocratic family and immediately knights him, giving him the title of Sir William. The prince and princess are now viewing the tournament, but Jocelyn is nowhere to be seen. William will face Ademar in the decisive game, but things don't go well from the get-go because Ademar is a jerk who cheats and stabs William in the shoulder with a lance that was unlawfully sharpened. William is currently severely hurt and can hardly hold the lance, which gives Ademar many additional points. William is still being teased by Ademar, but he begins to feel hopeful when he sees Jocelyn and John appear. William chooses to remove his armor in order to breathe more easily because he is determined to win at all costs. He then asks what to fasten the lance to his arm. Geoffrey realizes he forgot to give an introduction before the final run, so he gives one more speech to excite the audience by telling them that a commoner will beat a noble today. William can only unhorse Ademar in order to win this game due to the point differential. Although it's the trickiest jousting maneuver, William is adamant and rides while yelling his actual name as he smacks Ademar with his lance. Ademar is knocked to the ground as a result of William's effective method, earning him the world title. Geoffrey makes the decision to write about William's elevation to the knighthood as John sheds joyful tears and Jocelyn finds William in the center of the stadium for a celebratory kiss. This would go on to be the opening tale in the Canterbury Tales. This action is great and beautifully blended with the funny moments in the film. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Your support would be appreciated. I hope to see you next time.